Welcome to AudioCert, where the official study guides are brought to life.
Welcome, digital explorers and protectors, to another deep dive. I'm truly excited to have you with us today as we embark on a crucial mission. We're cracking open Module 5 from the EC Council Certified Ethical Hacker, or CEHv13 certification, our target vulnerability analysis.
Yeah, this is a really foundational topic.
Absolutely. In today's incredibly dynamic digital world, simply having the latest firewall or antivirus isn't enough to feel secure.
Not even close.
You truly need to understand where those defenses might actually fail, how a malicious actor thinks, and what specific weaknesses they're constantly searching for. This deep dive isn't just about theory. Think of it as your express lane to being truly well-informed, teaching you how to think like a hacker so you can protect your systems and data like a seasoned professional. Okay, let's unpack this and get started.
And I absolutely agree. The stakes couldn't be higher. Organizations of every size, from global enterprises to local startups, rely almost entirely on their information technology to safeguard vital data across every single department.
Right, it's everything.
It is. We're talking about everything from financial records and cutting-edge research and development to sensitive personnel information, legal documents, and, of course, their foundational security infrastructure. Vulnerability analysis is the absolutely essential practice of actively scanning your networks, your entire communication infrastructure, and all your end systems for known security weaknesses. It's about learning to see your digital environment not just as an administrator, but through the sharp, critical eyes of a potential attacker, yet with a fundamentally defensive and protective mindset.
That's a great way to put it.
By the end of this deep dive, you'll walk away with a robust understanding of how vulnerabilities are identified, categorized, actively managed, and ultimately mitigated. We'll give you a comprehensive view, diving into everything from core concepts to the very real-world tools and critical reports used by professionals in the field.
Okay.
So we'll be covering vulnerability classification, how we score these threats, the continuous management lifecycle, deep dive research techniques, the various types of scanning, the powerful tools at an ethical hacker's disposal, including cutting-edge AI solutions, and finally, how to generate and interpret those crucial vulnerability assessment reports.
So to kick us off, let's start with the absolute fundamentals. What is vulnerability assessment really, and why has it become such an indispensable process for safeguarding our digital lives and our most precious data?
Yeah, good place to start.
I like to think of it this way. Imagine your physical home. What are its potential weak spots? Maybe an old rusty lock on the back door, a window that's been left slightly ajar, or maybe an alarm system that's clearly past its prime. Vulnerability assessment is essentially like hiring a meticulous professional home inspector for all your digital assets, diligently checking every single potential point of failure.
That analogy perfectly hits the nail on the head. As you rightly pointed out, every modern organization now lives and breathes through its IT infrastructure, relying on it to protect vital information across all critical areas: finance, R&D, personnel, legal compliance, and overarching security.
Right.
At its very core, vulnerability assessment, or VA, is the systematic process of scanning networks for known security weaknesses. It's a crucial practice that serves a dual, but often inverse purpose.
Okay, dual purpose. How so?
Well, from an attacker's perspective, they perform VA to identify security loopholes in a target organization's network, communication infrastructure, and various end systems. Once these weaknesses are pinpointed, they become prime targets for exploitation.
Makes sense. They're casing the joint, digitally speaking.
Exactly. But from an administrator's or ethical hacker's perspective, we use VA proactively to secure networks. This involves a range of essential preventative activities. Think meticulous patch management, ensuring proper antivirus software is installed and updated, rigorously checking system configurations, resolving known issues in third-party applications, and troubleshooting hardware that might still be running with easily guessable default settings. All these actions, when performed systematically, constitute a comprehensive vulnerability assessment.
Gotcha. So it's the same process, but with opposite goals.
Precisely. Ultimately, VA plays a paramount role in providing robust security to any organization's resources and infrastructure, fortifying them against a wide array of both internal and external threats.
Right.
And this isn't just for massive corporations. The underlying principles apply directly to your personal devices, your home Wi-Fi network, and every online service you interact with.
That's a great point. It's relevant to everyone.
It really is. Understanding these concepts truly empowers you to make much more informed security decisions, from regularly updating your smartphone's operating system to securely configuring your home router.
That gives us a fantastic, clear overview. It sounds like a lot to cover, but this deep dive is specifically designed to break it all down into digestible, actionable parts. So, by the end of this deep dive, what exactly will we, the listeners, be able to grasp? What are the key learning objectives we'll achieve in this module?
Okay, so by the time we wrap up this module, you will gain a clear understanding of the intricate world of vulnerability classification and the various vulnerability scoring systems that professionals use to prioritize threats effectively.
Okay, classification and scoring.
Yep. You'll also be able to describe the complete continuous vulnerability management lifecycle, giving you a strategic blueprint for ongoing digital defense.
The whole cycle, start to finish.
Exactly. We'll ensure you grasp the nuances of vulnerability research, which is all about how we gather critical intelligence alongside the practical hands-on aspects of vulnerability scanning and in-depth analysis.
Research, scanning, analysis. Got it.
You'll gain insight into various types of scanning techniques and will introduce you to an array of essential vulnerability assessment tools. Finally, and crucially, you'll learn how to generate and, more importantly, analyze vulnerability assessment reports, which are essentially the blueprints for taking decisive action.
The reports, right? Turning data into action.
Precisely. What's truly fascinating here is that this module provides knowledge about the exact tools and techniques used by both attackers to exploit weaknesses and ethical hackers to build robust defenses, offering you a truly holistic and powerful perspective on cybersecurity.
All right, so a vulnerability isn't just some vague, weak point. It's far more specific and incredibly varied. Can you walk us through the different distinct categories that attackers and ethical hackers primarily focus on?
Yeah, absolutely. It's crucial to break them down.
Building on my home analogy, if your house has a weak spot, it could be a misaligned door, a crack in the foundation, or a leaky pipe. Each of those very different flaws requires a different fix. Our digital systems have similar diverse flaws, and knowing the category of a flaw is the first step to figuring out the right tool and approach to fix it.
That's exactly right. To address vulnerabilities effectively, our first step must always be to categorize them systematically. Let's dive into the major classifications that ethical hackers spend their time studying and protecting against.
Okay.
First up, and incredibly common, are misconfigurations or weak configurations. These occur when systems, applications, or devices are simply not set up correctly, essentially leaving them wide open for exploitation.
Just basic setup errors.
Often, yes. Attackers love these because they allow them to break into a network and gain unauthorized access with relative ease. These misconfigurations can be intentional, perhaps, for initial setup convenience, or unintentional, due to oversight or lack of expertise. They really impact everything from your web servers and application platforms to your core databases and entire network infrastructure. A core insight here is that many, if not most, successful attacks don't rely on complex, exotic exploits, but on these simple configuration errors or neglected defaults.
Wow, really? So the basics matter most.
Absolutely. Within misconfigurations, we often see network misconfigurations. This stems from the constant changes required in network and security devices. If not configured precisely, these changes can lead to degraded performance, service outages, or, critically, network intrusions.
Right. Networks are always changing.
They are. A common example is insecure protocols. These transmit data in plain text without encryption, causing authentication and integrity issues. Attackers can easily capture credentials for remote access, or even tamper with data mid-transit. Imagine shouting your password across a crowded room instead of whispering it.
Okay, yeah, that's a clear picture. Not good.
Not good at all. Another is open ports and services. While some ports are necessary, leaving unnecessary TCP or UDP ports open is a huge risk. They're like open windows, inviting threats, potentially leading to data loss, denial of service due to attacks, and allowing attackers to easily move between devices.
So essentially, these are settings we mess up, either by default or by accident, opening the door for trouble. It's like leaving your spare key right under the welcome mat or forgetting to lock a brand new window you just installed. It's an easy oversight with potentially huge consequences.
Precisely. It's low-hanging fruit for attackers. It really is. Next, we turn to application flaws. These are vulnerabilities deeply embedded within the applications themselves, which attackers ruthlessly exploit for things like data tampering or unauthorized access.
So this is in the code itself.
Exactly. Developers must deeply understand these flaws to build truly secure applications. One classic example is buffer overflows. This is a coding error where a program tries to write more data into a memory buffer than it was designed to hold. Think of trying to pour a gallon of water into a pint glass.
Right, overflows.
It spills over, causing crashes, instability, or, most dangerously, allowing an attacker to inject and execute their own malicious code, taking control.
Yikes. That sounds serious.
It can be very serious. Another significant issue is improper input handling. This happens when an application fails to properly validate, filter, or sanitize data that a user inputs. Imagine a website form asking for your name, but instead you type in a malicious command. If the application doesn't check and clean that input, it can open the door to attacks like SQL injection or cross-site scripting, XSS.
Wow, that's a lot of different ways the actual code can go wrong, and it sounds like these are often fundamental mistakes in how software is built.
Indeed they are. They often stem from core design or coding practices. Moving on, we have poor patch management. This is quite simply the failure to apply small software updates or patches that are specifically designed to fix problems, security vulnerabilities, and bugs.
Just not updating things.
Exactly. Unpatched software, whether it's on servers, firmware, your operating system, or specific applications, leaves systems wide open to a huge array of attacks. An unpatched operating system, for instance, can quickly become an infection vector, spreading malware, or enabling attackers to escalate their privileges within your network.
It sounds like neglecting software updates is the digital equivalent of being told there's a burglar in the neighborhood and then intentionally leaving your front door wide open. It's a recurring, easily preventable issue that still causes so much trouble.
A very apt comparison, and sadly a very common scenario.
Yeah.
It really is. Then there are design flaws. These are logical flaws inherent in the system's fundamental architecture or functionality rather than just coding errors.
So deeper than just a bug.
Yes, it's in the blueprint, so to speak.
Yeah.
Attackers exploit these to bypass detection mechanisms and gain unauthorized access. For example, a system designed with incorrect encryption protocols or poor data validation at its core would have a design flaw. We also face third-party risks. This arises when external services or products have access to your privileged systems and applications. These third parties, if compromised, can inadvertently expose your sensitive financial information, customer data, and even disrupt your supply chain.
Like suppliers or vendors.
Exactly. Organizations often place too much trust in these parties without adequately verifying their security standards. A classic example would be an outsourced code development team that isn't adhering to strict security practices, potentially baking vulnerabilities directly into your products.
Ouch.
And let's not forget zero-day vulnerabilities. These are the truly dangerous ones. Unknown vulnerabilities in software or hardware that are exposed and actively exploited before developers or security analysts even become aware of them, let alone release a patch.
The ones nobody knows about yet, except for the attackers.
Precisely. They're a major cyber threat, precisely because there's no immediate defense available. Finally, legacy platform vulnerabilities. These stem from obsolete or familiar code running on unsupported technical assets. Think old smartphones, outdated IoT devices, ancient operating systems, or applications that no longer receive security updates.
Stuff that's just too old to fix.
Pretty much. Because they're unsupported, patching them directly isn't an option, leading to costly data breaches. Mitigation often involves isolating or segregating these systems from the main network, or using other compensating controls.
Right, you wall them off.
This comprehensive classification gives us a critical mental map, allowing ethical hackers to systematically identify and understand the diverse array of digital battlegrounds. It's about knowing your enemy and their tactics.
That's an incredibly exhaustive yet clear list, and it really highlights just how many different angles an attacker can come from. I'm thinking about my own digital footprint. Which of these vulnerability types do you believe you might be most susceptible to, and why? For me, it's often poor patch management on some of the lesser-used devices around my home.
That's a common one for individuals, definitely. For me, maybe it's third-party risk, given how many services we all integrate with these days without always vetting them deeply.
Wow, that was an exhaustive list of ways things can go wrong. With so many potential vulnerabilities out there, how do security professionals even begin to prioritize what to fix first? Do we just randomly pick one out of a hat? It seems like you'd need a highly organized system.
Yeah, you definitely can't just pick randomly. That would be chaos.
Imagine a huge library filled with books about every conceivable disease. You wouldn't just grab one at random. You'd need a comprehensive catalog and a clear severity rating system to quickly find and understand the most urgent threats. Right.
That's an excellent way to frame the challenge. Indeed, security teams can't just randomly pick. Vulnerability research is absolutely critical for mitigating attacks and staying aware of advanced identification techniques. To bring order to this chaos, security analysts rely on standardized vulnerability scoring systems and vast vulnerability databases.
Okay, scoring systems and databases.
Exactly. These are essential tools used to rank information system vulnerabilities and provide a composite score of their overall severity and risk. Essentially, these databases collect and maintain a wealth of information about various vulnerabilities. Let's break down the key players in this ecosystem.
Okay.
First, the Common Vulnerability Scoring System, or CVSS. You can find its primary source at first.org. CVSS is a globally recognized published standard that provides an open framework for communicating IT vulnerability characteristics and their potential impacts.
A common language, basically.
Precisely. Its quantitative model ensures a repeatable, accurate measurement, and crucially, it allows users to see the underlying technical characteristics that generated a specific score. This makes it a transparent and universally understood standard. Its primary uses are to effectively prioritize vulnerability remediation activities and to objectively calculate the severity of discovered vulnerabilities. Organizations like First.org, Inc. provide CVSS scores for almost all known vulnerabilities.
And it gives a score.
Yep. CVSS produces a numerical score ranging from 0.0 to 10.0, with 10.0 representing the most severe possible threat. This numerical score then easily translates into qualitative representations: none, 0.0, low, 0.1, 3.9, medium, 4.0, 6.9, high, 7.0, 8.9, and critical, 9.0, 10.0.
Simple scale, 0 to 10. Easy to grasp.
Right. Now let's keep it high level regarding the latest version, CVSS 4.0. It's composed of 4 main metric groups. The base metric captures the inherent technical characteristics of a vulnerability, things like how easy it is to exploit and what kind of impact it has on confidentiality, integrity, and availability.
The core technical stuff.
Exactly. The threat metric looks at the current real-world exploitability and maturity of the threat. Is it being actively used by attackers?
Okay, the now factor.
Then the environmental metric allows organizations to tailor the score to their unique environment, considering the criticality of their assets.
Makes sense. A vulnerability might matter more on one system than another.
Precisely. And finally, the supplemental metric provides additional context, like the automated nature of an exploit or the effort required to fix it.
Extra details. Okay, so that's CVSS. What else is there?
Next, we have Common Vulnerabilities and Exposures, or CVE. You can find its source at cve.miter.org. CVE is a publicly available free-to-use list or dictionary of standardized identifiers, known as CVE IDs, for common software vulnerabilities and exposures.
So like a unique ID number for each vulnerability.
Exactly that. These unique IDs are assigned by CVE numbering authorities, or CNAs, which are organizations from around the world. The primary purpose of CVE is to ensure confidence and clarity when discussing or sharing vulnerability information. It provides a common baseline for evaluating security tools and enables seamless data exchange for cybersecurity automation.
So tools can talk to each other using these CVE IDs?
That's the idea. Products that are compatible with CVE offer better coverage, improved interoperability, and enhanced overall security. To be perfectly clear, a CVE entry is one unique identifier for one specific vulnerability with one standardized description. It's a dictionary, not a full-blown database, serving as a method for disparate databases and tools to speak the same language. It's free, universally industry-endorsed, and fundamentally about communication.
Okay, CVE is the dictionary. What's the NVD then?
Good question. Then there's the National Vulnerability Database, or NVD, which is found at nvd.nis.gov. The NVD is the U.S. government's official repository of standards-based vulnerability management data, and it leverages the Security Content Automation Protocol, or SCIP.
Okay, the U.S. government's list.
Right. It includes comprehensive databases of security checklist references, detailed security-related software flaws, common misconfigurations, product names, and critical impact metrics. The NVD's crucial role is performing in-depth analysis on the CVEs published to the CVE dictionary.
So it takes the CVEs and adds more detail.
Exactly. NVD staff meticulously aggregate data and associate key impact metrics like CVSS scores, categorize vulnerability types using CW, which we'll discuss next, and add applicability statements using CPE or Common Platform Enumeration. It's important to understand that the NBD does not actively perform vulnerability testing itself. Rather, it relies on vendors and researchers to provide the initial vulnerability information, which it then analyzes, standardizes, and enriches.
Got it. If analyzes the reports, doesn't do the testing, and what was that last one? CWU.
Right. Finally, we have the Common Weakness Enumeration, or CWU, also at cw.miter.org. CW is a category system, essentially a structured dictionary, for common software vulnerabilities and weaknesses, and it's sponsored by the Undocumented Corporation.
So it groups similar types of weaknesses.
Precisely. With over 600 categories, CWE provides an incredibly effective baseline for weakness identification, effective mitigation, and proactive prevention efforts. It also offers advanced search techniques based on extensive research, development, and architectural concepts, helping classify the root causes of vulnerabilities. Like, is this a buffer overflow type or an input validation type?
So if I'm understanding this correctly, it's like CVE gives us the unique ID for a specific digital disease. NVD then gives us the official government-backed medical record with detailed analysis of that disease. CVSS tells us how bad it is on a universal severity scale, and CWE categorizes what kind of underlying flaw or weakness caused it.
That's a great summary.
That really is a truly powerful and interconnected toolkit for understanding and communicating digital risks. It's like a comprehensive medical record system for our digital systems, ensuring everyone speaks the same language.
Exactly. This global standardization is absolutely crucial. It allows security professionals and their tools worldwide to speak a common, unambiguous language about threats, making collective defense efforts far more efficient and effective, especially when rapid response is needed. It cuts through the noise and ensures clarity.
That makes perfect sense for global collaboration. Thinking about a crisis, how might a universal scoring system like CVSS improve decision-making? Especially when different organizations or even countries need to collaborate rapidly on a newly discovered global threat.
Well, it provides that immediate shared understanding of severity, right? Everyone instantly knows if it's a drop everything kind of critical issue or something less urgent. It really helps coordinate responses.
We've now covered what vulnerabilities are and how they're categorized and scored, but this isn't just a one-and-done kind of assessment, is it? How do organizations continuously manage and mitigate these threats over time?
No, definitely not one and done. That's a common misconception.
It's like maintaining a garden. You don't just plant it once and leave it. You continuously weed, water, and prune to keep it healthy. Or like building a secure fortress. You don't just build it and walk away. You constantly patrol, reinforce, and adapt to new siege methods and technologies.
That's a spot-on analogy because the vulnerability management lifecycle is precisely that. An incredibly important and ongoing process that helps identify and remediate security weaknesses before they can be exploited.
Okay, the life cycle.
Its core goal is fundamentally strategic: to define an organization's risk posture and policies, create a complete and accurate asset list, continuously scan and assess for vulnerabilities, and then critically take decisive action to mitigate identified risks.
So it's a whole strategic approach.
It is. Implementing this lifecycle offers a crucial benefit. It helps organizations gain a much-needed strategic perspective on cybersecurity threats, ultimately rendering insecure computing environments far more resilient to attacks. It's a truly continuous process that evaluates and controls risks, providing the best results when executed in a well-organized sequence of phases.
Right.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this life cycle transforms a reactive, often frantic firefighting approach into a proactive, strategic, and far more effective defense.
Proactive, not just reactive. Got it. So what are the phases?
Let's break down each phase. A, pre-assessment phase. Laying the groundwork. A, pre-assessment phase. This is the foundational preparatory phase. It involves defining clear policies and security standards, clarifying the precise scope of the assessment, designing appropriate information protection procedures, and, crucially, meticulously identifying and prioritizing critical assets to create a solid baseline.
Knowing what you have, basically.
Exactly. This helps in defining risk based on the criticality and business value of each system. During this phase, comprehensive information about identified systems is gathered to understand approved ports, necessary software, drivers, and the basic configuration of each system.
Okay.
Think of the steps in creating a baseline like this. First, truly understand all business processes. Then identify the applications, data, and services that support those processes, even performing initial code reviews.
Understand the business first.
Yep. Next, document the approved software, drivers, and basic configuration for every system. Create a comprehensive inventory of all assets, and then Very importantly, prioritize and rank the critical ones. You can't protect everything equally.
Prioritization is key.
Absolutely. Gain a deep understanding of your network architecture and map out the entire network infrastructure. Identify all existing security controls already in place. Understand your organization's policy implementation and practice standard compliance. Clearly define the scope of the upcoming assessment, what's in, what's out, and finally create detailed information protection procedures to support effective planning, scheduling, coordination, and logistics for the assessment itself.
That sounds like a lot of planning up front.
It is, but it's essential. Asset classification and prioritization are key here. Classifying assets according to business needs helps identify where the highest business risks lie. Prioritizing assets based on the potential impact of their failure and their reliability allows organizations to evaluate solutions for asset failure, examine their unique risk tolerance levels, and effectively organize methods for prioritizing those assets.
So this is where you effectively draw the blueprint for your fortress. Before you even think about looking for structural flaws, you absolutely need to know what you're protecting, how it's built, and what's most important to your business. It's like making a detailed blueprint of your house before checking for cracks. You can't effectively fix what you don't fully understand or clearly prioritize.
Exactly. Without that solid foundation, your efforts will be scattered, inefficient, and ultimately less effective. B. Vulnerability assessment phase. The search for weaknesses.
Okay, so after the planning, what's next? The actual assessment.
Right. This is the very crucial phase where the actual detective work happens.
Yeah.
It's where we meticulously identify vulnerabilities across the organization's infrastructure, including operating systems, web applications, and web servers. The goal here is to categorize these vulnerabilities, determine their criticality, and thereby minimize risk.
Finding the problems.
Exactly. The ultimate objective is to scan, examine, evaluate, and then report on the vulnerabilities present in the organization's information system. Scans can also be performed against compliance templates to assess infrastructure weaknesses against specific regulatory guidelines. Key steps involved in this phase include: don't forget to examine and evaluate physical security, which is often an overlooked but absolutely critical aspect.
Physical security, too.
Right, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Meticulously check for common misconfigurations and human errors. Run specialized vulnerability scans using appropriate tools. Carefully select the right scan type based on your organizational or compliance requirements.
Picking the right tool for the job.
Right. Identify and, very importantly, prioritize the vulnerabilities found, because not all vulnerabilities are created equal in terms of threat. Crucially, identify false positives, benign findings mistakenly flagged as issues, and false negatives, actual issues that were missed by the scan. This requires human intelligence.
The tool isn't always right.
No, never blindly trust the tool. Apply business and technology context to the scanner results for accurate interpretation, as a tool's output alone is rarely the full story. Perform OSINT, open source intelligence, gathering to validate identified vulnerabilities, cross-referencing findings with publicly available information, and finally create a comprehensive vulnerability scan report.
Okay, so analyze the results carefully.
This is truly where the rubber meets the road. It's not just about running an automated tool and accepting its output at face value. It's about intelligent analysis, applying human judgment, and deeply understanding what those results truly mean for your specific environment. It's the critical detective work that follows the initial sweep. C. Post-assessment phase. Action, verification, and evolution.
So you found the vulnerabilities, analyzed them. What happens then? The fixing part.
Exactly. This phase is also often referred to as the recommendation phase, and it's performed after the initial risk assessment. Risk characterization helps immensely in prioritizing the resulting recommendations. Tasks here include creating a priority list for assessment recommendations, developing a concrete action plan, capturing invaluable lessons learned, and conducting essential employee training.
Planning the fixes and learning from it.
Yep. This phase is further broken down into several interconnected subphases. First is risk assessment. Here, identified vulnerabilities are transformed into actual risks. We identify, characterize, and classify these risks, along with developing techniques to control or reduce their potential impact.
Turning vulnerabilities into actual risks.
Right. All serious uncertainties associated with the system are assessed and prioritized, and remediation efforts are meticulously planned. This determines if the risk level for a particular asset is high, moderate, or low, with high-risk vulnerabilities naturally targeted first. Then comes remediation. This is the hands-on process of applying fixes to mitigate or reduce the impact and severity of vulnerabilities. It involves evaluating vulnerabilities, pinpointing the risks, and designing effective responses. Remediation plans must always be smart, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound.
Smart goals for fixing things. I like it.
Exactly. Tasks include prioritizing remediation, developing an actionable plan, performing root cause analysis to prevent recurrence, applying patches and fixes, capturing lessons learned for continuous improvement, conducting awareness training, and for vulnerabilities that simply cannot be remediated, performing exception handling and formally accepting the residual risk.
Accepting the risk. What if you can't fix it?
Sometimes you can't, or the fix is too costly or disruptive. That's where formal risk acceptance comes in, but it has to be a conscious, documented decision. Next is verification. The security team then rescans the systems to rigorously assess if the remediation is complete and if the fixes have been applied effectively.
Checking your work.
You got it. This provides clear visibility and confirms the true effectiveness of the previous phases. Tasks include rescanning for fix effectiveness, performing dynamic analysis, and thoroughly reviewing the attack surface. And finally, monitoring. Regular, ongoing monitoring is absolutely essential to maintain system security, identify any potential new threats, and detect new vulnerabilities as they continuously evolve.
It never really stopped.
Never. This involves implementing continuous security monitoring using tools like IDSS, intrusion detection systems, intrusion prevention systems, ACM, security information and event management solutions, and firewalls. Tasks include periodic VA scans, timely remediation, active monitoring of IDSS logs, and the continuous implementation of robust policies, procedures, and controls.
So it's really a constant loop. You prepare, you find the problems, you fix them, you verify the fixes, and then you repeat and refine the entire process. It really drives home that security isn't some fixed destination. It's a continuous evolving journey, always adapting and improving. It's never truly done.
Exactly. This continuous loop, when implemented effectively and consistently, makes an organization dramatically more resilient against the ever-evolving landscape of cyber threats, effectively turning potential weaknesses into robust strengths. It ensures sustained digital health and a proactive defense posture.
Considering the remediation phase, if a vulnerability cannot be fixed, perhaps due to an old, absolutely critical system that simply can't be updated or patched without breaking core business operations, what do you think exception handling or risk acceptance truly means for an organization, and what are the potential, sometimes very significant consequences of making that difficult decision?
Well, it means acknowledging the risk exists, documenting why it can't be fixed, maybe implementing compensating controls if possible, and then formally signing off that the business accepts that potential negative outcome, the consequence. If that vulnerability gets exploited, the impact could be severe, and the organization knowingly accepted that possibility. It's a tough call.
Before you even get to the actual scanning or the fixing of vulnerabilities, how do security professionals even know what specific things to look for? It sounds like there's a huge amount of ongoing intelligence gathering and research involved.
Oh, absolutely. Huge amount.
A bit like a detective constantly studying new criminal methods, new tools, and new hideouts to anticipate and prevent crimes.
That's a spot-on analogy. Vulnerability research is precisely that. It's the systematic utilization of various online resources, specialized tools, and collaborative platforms to identify, analyze, and share critical information about security vulnerabilities. It's the foundational intelligence gathering that informs every other stage of the vulnerability management lifecycle.
So it's the homework before the test.
Pretty much. Let's quickly break down why this research is vital for different roles, why an administrator needs it, to continuously gather up-to-date information about emerging security trends, newly discovered threats, potential attack surfaces, common attack vectors, and novel techniques. This helps them proactively stay ahead of the curve.
Staying informed.
Right. To find weaknesses in their operating systems, OS, and critical applications, allowing them to alert the network administrator and mitigate risks before a network attack can even occur. To deeply understand information that helps prevent security problems proactively rather than reacting after the fact.
Being proactive.
Yep. To know how to effectively recover from a network attack should one occur, ensuring business continuity. To prioritize and apply security patches and updates effectively, mitigating specific risks before exploitation rather than blindly patching everything.
Smart patching.
To adhere to industry best practices for security, ensuring their systems are not just compliant with regulations, but truly secured to the highest possible standards. And to perform accurate risk assessments, identifying and prioritizing the most critical threats that demand immediate attention.
Okay, makes sense for defenders. What about ethical hackers?
Well, ethical hackers need it especially to stay one step ahead of malicious attackers. They need to discover system design faults and hidden weaknesses that might allow system compromise. To stay rigorously updated about new products, evolving technologies, and the very latest exploits being discussed in the security community.
Keeping up with the bad guys.
Exactly. To check specialized online communities and even underground hacking websites, sometimes referred to as deep and dark websites, for newly discovered vulnerabilities and zero-day exploits. To keep an eye on newly released alerts regarding relevant innovations and product improvements for security systems they manage.
Looking everywhere.
To anticipate precisely how a system might be attacked and take proactive, preventative steps to mitigate those specific risks. To help organizations develop robust defensive strategies that are tailored to protect against specific targeted threats. To customize security solutions to the unique needs and risk profiles of different organizations they are helping to secure. And to conduct thorough audits that specifically identify compliance issues and critical security gaps.
So it informs everything they do.
It really does. Security experts and vulnerability scanners typically classify vulnerabilities by their severity level low, medium, or high, and by their exploit range, meaning whether they are locally exploitable or remotely exploitable. Ethical hackers conduct intense research, building on the information acquired during the initial footprinting and scanning phases to find those truly critical, hidden vulnerabilities.
So where do these professionals, both administrators and ethical hackers, find all this crucial, continuously updated information? Are there specific, reliable sources everyone relies on for vulnerability intelligence? It sounds like there's a whole dynamic ecosystem of information out there, constantly being updated.
There is indeed a rich and vital ecosystem of resources. One of the most prominent is the Microsoft Security Response Center, or MSRC, which you can find at msrc.microsoft.com.
Okay, Microsoft's own center.
Yep. The MSRC meticulously investigates all reports of security vulnerabilities affecting Microsoft products and services, providing absolutely vital information to help security professionals manage risks and keep their vast array of systems protected.
Makes sense, given how much Microsoft stuff is out there.
Exactly. Other key resources that ethical hackers and security professionals regularly consult, to name just a few of the many: PacketStorm, Dark Reading, Trend Micro, Security Magazine.
Lots of security news sites.
Right, and places like Exploit Database, HelpNet Security, Computer World. There are many good ones.
So it's a mix of vendor sites and security community hubs.
Precisely. Here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
These resources are the public's and professionals' windows into the constantly evolving world of digital threats. This makes rapid information sharing absolutely vital for collective defense, as one person's discovery can protect countless others.
Information sharing is key.
It really is. This isn't just for highly specialized experts. Even as a curious learner, you can leverage these resources to stay informed about threats to the software and systems you use daily, building your own foundational knowledge and becoming a more informed digital citizen.
That's certainly a lot of places to keep an eye on, a constant flow of new information. Given the relentless emergence of new vulnerabilities every single day, how challenging do you think it is for even the most dedicated security professional to keep fully up to date with all the latest threats and exploits? It feels like trying to drink from a fire hose.
Oh, it's incredibly challenging. It is like drinking from a fire hose. You rely on good aggregation, trusted sources, and prioritization. You simply can't know everything, but you need to know what's most relevant and dangerous now.
Once you know what to look for, thanks to all that research, how do you actually go about finding these specific vulnerabilities in a real-world system or network?
This is where the scanning and analysis parts come in.
Exactly. This is the active part.
It's like a medical checkup.
Yeah.
The scan, think an X-ray or MRI, gathers all the raw data, while the analysis, the doctor's diagnosis, interprets that data to understand the underlying health issues and then recommends a course of treatment. That analogy perfectly captures the distinction. Vulnerability scanning is the initial phase. It involves systematically analyzing protocols, services, and configurations to discover vulnerabilities and design flaws that may expose an operating system or its applications to exploitation, attack, or misuse. It's the thorough data collection phase, like casting a wide net.
Gathering the data.
Right. Vulnerability analysis, on the other hand, is the more systematic process of identifying, evaluating, and prioritizing those security weaknesses found in systems, networks, applications, or protocols.
Yeah.
As we discussed, vulnerabilities are classified based on their severity, low, medium, or high, and exploit range. local or remote.
Making sense of the data.
Exactly. The ultimate goal of this analysis is to truly understand the nature of these vulnerabilities, accurately assess their potential impact on the organization, and then develop informed, actionable strategies to mitigate or eliminate them. The core benefit of this powerful duo scanning and analysis is that they assist security professionals in proactively securing networks by identifying security loopholes or weaknesses in current security mechanisms before malicious attackers can find and exploit them. It's all about prevention.
Finding it before they do.
That's the goal. Typically, vulnerability scanning tools work by first searching network segments for any IP-enabled devices. They then enumerate systems, identify operating systems, and list installed applications to identify vulnerabilities. These vulnerabilities can arise from various sources: vendor negligence, system or network misconfigurations, or simply from the routine daily operations of a system. The scanning software then meticulously compares the scan systems against the vast common vulnerabilities and exposures, CVE index, and relevant security bulletins provided by software vendors.
Checking against the known lists.
Precisely. Vulnerability scanners are incredibly capable of identifying a wealth of information, including the exact OS version running on computers or devices, all active IP and TCP, Transmission Control Protocol, UDP, User Datagram Protocol, ports that are listening for connections, every application installed on target computers, any accounts with weak, easily guessable passwords.
Weak passwords, always a classic.
Always. Files and folders with overly permissive security settings, default services and applications that may be unnecessary and should be uninstalled, errors in the security configuration of common applications, computers exposed to known or publicly reported vulnerabilities, EOLEOs, end of life, end of support, software information which represents a significant and often unpatchable risk factor, any missing patches and hotfixes, weak network configurations and misconfigured or risky ports, and importantly, they help verify the inventory of all devices actively connected to the network.
That's a huge amount of detail these tools can uncover. But are there different fundamental ways to approach scanning? Or is it pretty much a single standard method? It seems like there might be scenarios where you wouldn't want to be too aggressive, for instance, especially on a live system.
You're absolutely right. There are two primary, fundamentally different approaches to network vulnerability scanning.
Okay.
First is active scanning. In this approach, the attacker, or ethical hacker, interacts directly with the target network to find vulnerabilities. This method essentially simulates an actual attack on the target network to uncover exploitable weaknesses.
Like knocking on the doors and windows?
Kind of, yeah. For example, an attacker might send specially crafted network probes and requests to a target host, observing how it responds to unusual input, thereby potentially revealing vulnerabilities. It's direct, often impactful, and can be quite noisy on the network.
Noisy meaning detectable.
Potentially, yes. Second is passive scanning. In contrast with passive scanning, the attacker tries to find vulnerabilities without directly interacting with the target network. This is achieved by simply observing information that is naturally exposed by systems during their normal, everyday communications.
Just listening in.
Essentially. Passive scanning identifies active operating systems, applications, and ports by merely monitoring their routine activity and looking for telltale signs. This approach provides valuable information about weaknesses, but doesn't offer a direct path for actively combating attacks or direct exploitation. For instance, an attacker might guess OS information, applications, and their specific versions simply by observing the TCP connection setup and teardown processes, looking for unique fingerprints in the network traffic.
More subtle.
Much more subtle. Common, powerful tools that both attackers and ethical hackers use for scanning include Nessus, Qualys, GFI Landguard, and OpenVAS. This raises an important question. While these tools are undoubtedly powerful, what are their inherent limitations, and what can't they tell us?
It sounds incredibly powerful to have tools that can uncover so much information. But nothing is perfect, right? What are the limitations of vulnerability scanning that we need to be aware of? What are the blind spots, or what can't these digital detectives actually do on their own?
That's a crucial point because while vulnerability scanning is indispensable, it's certainly not a silver bullet. There are several critical limitations to keep in mind that highlight the need for human expertise.
Okay, like what?
Well, first, time-limited detection. Scanning software is only capable of detecting vulnerabilities at a given point in time. It will inevitably miss any new vulnerabilities that emerge shortly after a scan is completed, requiring continuous ongoing efforts.
It's just a snapshot.
Exactly. Also, update dependency. The scanning software itself must be regularly updated whenever new vulnerabilities are discovered or improvements are made to its detection logic. An outdated scanner is, quite simply, ineffective and will miss critical threats.
Garbage in, garbage out if the database is old.
Pretty much. And no security control strength measurement. Vulnerability assessment doesn't directly measure the strength or effectiveness of your existing security controls. It only identifies the presence of known flaws. It tells you if a specific lock is broken, but not how robust the unbroken ones truly are against various forms of attack.
Doesn't tell you how strong the good parts are.
Nope. And critically, human judgment required. Human expertise is absolutely necessary to analyze the vast amount of data after scanning. This includes identifying false positives, things flagged as an issue that aren't actually problems, and false negatives, actual critical issues that the scan unfortunately missed. Without human context and critical thinking, a report can be misleading or incomplete.
Need a human brain to sort through it.
Definitely. Also, no business impact definition. Scanning software being automated cannot inherently define the true business impact of an identified vulnerability on different operations within your organization. A technically high-severity vulnerability might have a low business impact on a non-critical system, and vice versa. This is a business decision, not a technical one.
The tool doesn't know what's important to the business.
Right. And a big one, no zero-day detection. This is a very significant limitation. Scanning tools rely heavily on databases of known vulnerabilities and thus cannot detect zero-day threats, which are unknown and unpatched vulnerabilities that are actively being exploited in the wild. These require different, more advanced detection methods.
That's a really comprehensive list of caveats. So a scan report is a critical starting point, but it's clearly not the final word on security. Human judgment, deep context, and a multifaceted approach remain absolutely crucial for true security, especially when you consider things like 0 days.
Absolutely. The tool is just one part of the process.
Given these limitations, especially the inability to detect 0-day threats, what do you think is the biggest misconception the public has about what a typical vulnerability scan can actually do? What do people think it offers that it actually doesn't?
I think many people believe running a scan makes them secure or finds all the problems. They don't always grasp the snapshot nature, the reliance on known issues, and the need for human interpretation and context. It's not a magic wand.
Since networks and systems are so varied, from small home networks to massive cloud infrastructures, I imagine there isn't a one-size-fits-all scan that can address every need. What are the different types of vulnerability scanning that professionals use, and when would you use each to gain specific insights?
You're right, it's definitely not one size fits all.
Thinking about our medical analogy again, it's like having different types of medical specialists, a cardiologist for the heart, a neurologist for the brain. Each scan type targets a specific organ or aspect of the digital system, requiring specialized tools and techniques.
That's a great way to frame it, as the digital environment is incredibly diverse, and so are the methods we use to secure it. You wouldn't use a hammer to drive a screw. And similarly, you wouldn't use a broad network scan to find a flaw in a specific web application. Let's explore the various types of vulnerability scanning and their specialized applications.
All right, let's break them down.
First, we have external scanning. This type of scan literally examines the network from an attacker's perspective. It identifies exploits and vulnerabilities that are accessible from the outside world.
Looking from the outside in.
Exactly. It uses external devices, such as your public-facing firewalls, routers, and web servers, to estimate threats and determine the security level of your external network perimeter. A common step here would be to identify open ports and services that are visible to anyone on the internet.
Okay, what's the opposite?
That would be internal scanning. This, conversely, scrutinizes the internal network to find exploits and vulnerabilities within the organizational perimeter. This scan mimics an attacker who has already breached the initial perimeter or an insider threat.
Like someone already got past the front door.
Right. Steps here would include checking patch levels on internal devices or scanning for Trojans and other malware activity within your network.
Okay. What about focusing on just one machine?
That's host-based scanning. This conducts a very detailed configuration-level examination of a single host, a specific server or workstation. It identifies system configurations, user directories, file systems, and registry settings to evaluate the possibility of compromise. It's looking for things like incorrect file permissions or software configuration errors unique to that machine.
Getting really specific on one box.
hmm Then there's network-based scanning. This type determines possible network security attacks across a broader network segment. It discovers network resources, maps, ports, and services, and evaluates for missing patches or unnecessary services on multiple devices. It helps identify common entry points by mimicking a hacker's initial reconnaissance.
More of a wide-angle view of the network?
Kind of, yeah. Fifth, application scanning. This is highly focused on transactional web applications, traditional client-server applications, and hybrid systems. It analyzes all elements of an application's infrastructure, including how it's deployed and how it communicates. It often tests the web server infrastructure for misconfiguration or known vulnerabilities specific to web applications, such as NSQL injection vulnerability.
Focusing just on the apps. Makes sense.
And related to that, database scanning. As the name suggests, this tests specific databases like MySQL, MS-SQL, Oracle, or PostgreSQL for misconfiguration or known vulnerabilities like data exposure or injection-type flaws. This is crucial as databases often hold the most sensitive information.
Protecting the crown jewels.
You got it. Seventh, wireless network scanning. This type specifically determines vulnerabilities in an organization's wireless networks. It aims to identify rogue networks operating within your perimeter or addresses issues with weak or outdated wireless security mechanisms, like an old WEP encryption, which is easily breakable.
Wi-Fi security, right?
Yep. Eighth, credentialed authenticated scanning. This is a powerful technique where the scanner logs into the target system using valid credentials. This allows it to perform a much more thorough and comprehensive scan from inside the system, providing deeper insights into potential vulnerabilities by accessing areas not available to unauthenticated scans.
So this is like having a key to the house versus just looking from the outside. It gives you a much better and more complete picture of what's truly inside and hidden away.
Precisely. It's absolutely crucial for identifying and mitigating security risks that could be overlooked by non-credentialed scans, offering a far more accurate and in-depth assessment.
Okay, so what's the outside view called again?
That's non-credentialed unauthenticated scanning. This assesses systems, networks, and applications without using valid credentials. It explicitly simulates an external attacker attempting to find and exploit vulnerabilities without having any user accounts or privileged information. This is essential for understanding an organization's exposure to external threats and identifying immediate vulnerabilities that are exploitable without any special access.
Simulating a drive-by attack.
Sort of. We also have automated scanning, which uses specialized software tools like Nessus or Qualys to systematically identify, evaluate, and report security vulnerabilities without manual intervention. These tools use predefined rules and known vulnerability databases and can be scheduled for regular, consistent scans.
Let the machines do the work.
Often, yes. But then there's manual scanning, which relies on human expertise to manually identify, evaluate, and validate security vulnerabilities. Human penetration testers often uncover subtle, complex issues that automated scanners might miss, such as intricate logic errors in an application.
The human touch.
Absolutely essential sometimes. Finally, consider cloud-based scanning. This specifically evaluates the overall security of cloud infrastructure, ensuring compliance with cloud service provider best practices. It identifies and mitigates cloud infrastructure vulnerabilities through access control and security measures, crucial in today's increasingly cloud-dependent world.
Right, scanning the cloud is different.
It has its own nuances, definitely. As you can see, the diversity of scanning types reflects the incredible diversity of the digital landscape we're trying to protect. A truly holistic and effective security approach requires judicious and intelligent use of many of these specialized methods, often in combination.
That's an incredibly exhaustive list, showing just how many different layers there are to securing an environment. Given all these options, which of these scanning types do you think would be most critical for a small business running an e-commerce website that primarily uses cloud services, and why?
Good question. For them, I'd say external scanning is crucial to see what attackers see from the outside. Application scanning for their e-commerce platform is vital, and cloud-based scanning to check their cloud configurations is a must. Maybe authenticated scanning on their key web servers too, if possible. They need to focus on their internet-facing assets and the apps that handle customer data.
All right, we've talked about all these different types of scans and the deep insights they can offer. Now, let's get truly practical. What are the actual tools that ethical hackers and security professionals use to perform these assessments? And critically, how do they even begin to pick the right one?
Yeah, choosing the right tool is a big decision.
These are like the specialized tools in a master craftsman's workshop, each designed for a specific job, and knowing which one to use and how to use it expertly makes all the difference in the final product.
That's perfect framing.
Hmm.
Vulnerability assessment solutions are indeed absolutely vital for information security management, as they are designed to identify potential security weaknesses before they can ever be exploited.
Hmm.
The selection of an appropriate assessment approach and tool plays a major strategic role in effectively mitigating threats.
Oh.
Let's quickly compare two core approaches to vulnerability assessment tools. First is tree-based assessment. In this method, the auditor selects different predefined scanning strategies for each machine or component. For example, you might use one scanner specifically configured for Windows servers and a completely different one for Linux.
Like a fixed plan for each type.
Right. The key limitation here is that it relies on initial intelligence and scans continuously without dynamically incorporating new information found during the scan, making it somewhat rigid.
Okay, what's the other way?
The other is inference-based assessment. This is a more dynamic and intelligent approach. Scanning starts by building an inventory of protocols, then detects which ports are attached to specific services, like email, web, or database. After identifying these services, it selects and executes only those relevant tests for known vulnerabilities on each machine.
So it figures things out as it goes.
Exactly. This makes it far more efficient and targeted, avoiding unnecessary checks.
So inference-based sounds a bit smarter, almost like it's adapting its approach as it gathers new information. Unlike tree-based, which is more rigid and predefined, it learns as it goes, essentially.
Exactly. Inference-based is like a seasoned detective who adapts their line of questioning based on the initial clues they uncover. This makes the investigation much more efficient and targeted because they're not wasting time on irrelevant tests.
Makes sense. So what makes a VA tool good?
Now, what truly characterizes a good vulnerability assessment solution? Well, it should cover a wide range of assets: networks, servers, endpoints, web applications, and cloud services. It must automatically scan and check against continuously updated databases of vulnerabilities.
Needs to be up to date.
Absolutely. It should produce brief, actionable, customizable reports, including clear vulnerability severity levels and trend analysis. Critically, it must be able to imitate the outside view of attackers to achieve its objectives, providing a realistic perspective on external threats.
Think like the attacker.
Right. It needs to identify vulnerabilities with minimal false positives and negatives, because wasting time on non-issues or missing real threats is unacceptable. And finally, a strong solution will incorporate risk-based prioritization, considering factors like the technical severity, the criticality of the affected asset to your business, and your specific organizational context.
Prioritization, again, very important.
Always. The core working principle of most vulnerability scanning solutions generally follows three core steps. First, locating nodes, finding all live hosts in the target network. Second, performing service and OS discovery, enumerating open ports, services, and identifying the operating system. And third, testing those services and OS for known vulnerabilities, rigorously testing against vast databases of known vulnerabilities.
Find it, identify it, test it.
That's the basic flow.
Choosing the right tool sounds like a major strategic decision that can have huge implications. What are the most important requirements and criteria organizations should consider when picking a vulnerability assessment tool? It's not just about what it can do in theory, but what it should do for your specific environment and budget.
Indeed, it's a significant investment, and the decision needs to be highly strategic. Here are the key requirements and criteria for making that crucial choice. When evaluating requirements for choosing a VA tool, think about extensive vulnerability coverage. The tool must be capable of testing for a vast number of different vulnerabilities.
How many things can it find?
Right. Does it have a robust and updated database? It absolutely needs a sound database of vulnerabilities with frequently updated attack signatures to stay current with emerging threats. Check its accurate capabilities. Verify that it has accurate network mapping, application mapping, and, if needed, penetration test capabilities.
Can it map things out correctly?
Look at the clear and exportable reports. Understanding how many reports are returned, what information they contain, and whether they are easily exportable in useful formats, like PDF or CSV, is vital. Consider speed and accuracy. It must run scans quickly and accurately without consuming excessive resources or generating too many errors. And can it do fragile system assessment? A good tool should be able to assess fragile legacy systems and non-traditional assets without causing damage or outages.
Okay, those are key requirements. What about when you're actually buying one?
Good distinction. For the broader criteria for purchasing a VA tool, the most important criterion is the vulnerability types assessed. How many different types of vulnerabilities will it truly discover across your diverse IT landscape? Look at the efficient and accurate scanning. Consider the time it takes per host, the required system resources, any potential loss of services during scanning, and, critically, the accuracy of its results to avoid false positives.
Performance and accuracy.
Definitely. Ensure compatibility. Make sure it works seamlessly across your diverse IT environments, including any legacy systems you might still be running. Check compliance support. Does it meet relevant industry standards, regulations, and best practices? This can simplify auditing and reporting. And, of course, the licensing model and cost. Carefully evaluate the licensing model per asset, IP address, user, or module to ensure it fits your organization's size, scale, and budget effectively.
That's an incredibly detailed list. It's clear that picking a VA tool is less like buying a simple gadget and more like investing in a specialized piece of machinery. You need to know its full capabilities, its limitations, and critically, how it fits into your broader security strategy.
And just like any sophisticated machinery, regular maintenance and knowing how to operate it properly are paramount to its effectiveness and longevity in protecting your digital assets. The tool is ultimately only as good as the operator and the context in which it's used.
I think many listeners could face this challenge. So if you're advising a startup with limited resources, what 2-3 criteria from this extensive list would you tell them are most important when choosing their first vulnerability assessment tool, and why? They can't afford everything, so they need to be incredibly smart about their initial investment.
For a startup,
Oh.
I'd focus on accuracy, minimal false positives, negatives, coverage relevant to their specific technology stack, web apps, cloud, and maybe ease of use reporting so their small team can actually understand and act on the results quickly. Cost is obviously huge too, but effectiveness comes first.
Now, let's move from the how to choose to the what to choose. What are some of the most effective and widely recognized vulnerability assessment tools out there that ethical hackers and security professionals genuinely rely on in their daily work?
Okay, yeah, let's name some names. There are several highly effective and widely used tools that form the backbone of many security operations, each with its own strengths. First, Nessus Essentials by Tenable. This is a leading assessment solution for identifying vulnerabilities, configuration issues, and even malware. It helps ethical hackers perform comprehensive vulnerability, configuration, and compliance assessments.
Nessus is a big one. I've heard of that.
It really is. Nessus supports a vast range of technologies, from various operating systems and network devices to databases and web servers. Its key features include high-speed asset discovery, detailed vulnerability assessment, and the ability to scan and audit virtualized and cloud platforms.
Okay. What else?
Next up is OpenVAS from Greenbone Networks. This is an open-source framework comprising several services and tools that together offer a comprehensive and powerful vulnerability scanning and management solution.
Open source, so potentially free.
The core is open source, yes, though Greenbone offers commercial solutions built around it. A key strength is that it comes with a regularly updated feed of network vulnerability tests, or NVTs, totaling over 50,000, ensuring it stays current with emerging threats.
Impressive database.
Then we have Nikto, developed by Cert.net. This is an open-source web server scanner that performs expensive tests specifically against web servers. It checks for thousands of potentially dangerous files or programs, outdated server versions, and common server configuration items like multiple index files or HTTP server options. It's excellent for finding web-specific flaws.
Good for web servers specifically.
Finally, Qualys Vulnerability Management, or Qualys VM. This is a robust cloud-based service that offers immediate global visibility into where IT systems might be vulnerable to the latest internet threats. It helps continuously identify threats and monitor unexpected changes before they can lead to breaches.
Cloud-based, so managed service.
Yep, Qualys VM's features include agent-based detection, extending coverage to hard-to-scan assets, constant monitoring and alerts, comprehensive coverage across on-premises, cloud, and mobile endpoints, and an executive dashboard for security posture overview.
Sounds comprehensive.
These tools represent the cutting edge of traditional vulnerability assessment, each with its unique strengths, helping ethical hackers uncover weaknesses across diverse digital environments and provide critical insights. And there are many others too, like Insight VM, Acunetics, Nexposes, and more.
That was a fantastic look at the current landscape of traditional VA tools. But what about the future? We hear so much about AI these days. How is artificial intelligence actively transforming vulnerability assessment, and what fundamentally makes it different from the traditional approach we just discussed?
Yeah, AI is definitely changing the game here.
Imagine moving from a traditional detective using a magnifying glass and a checklist to a self-learning super detective who can not only spot clues but also predict where threats will emerge and adapt their methods with every new case.
That's a perfect analogy for the monumental shift we're witnessing.
The big challenge with traditional vulnerability scanning tools is their reliance on predefined rules and static signatures. This makes it incredibly difficult for them to keep up with the sheer speed and volume of rapidly evolving cyber threats, often leading to inefficient and error-prone processes.
They're always playing catch-up.
Exactly. This is precisely where AI truly revolutionizes the field. AI-powered vulnerability assessments are fundamentally changing security risk management by leveraging advanced technologies to automate and significantly enhance vulnerability detection and remediation processes.
Okay, so how does AI help?
The key benefits of these AI-powered scanners include their unparalleled ability to adapt to new, previously unseen threats in ways traditional rule-based tools simply cannot. They significantly reduce false positives, which is an enormous time and resource saver for already stretched security teams.
Fewer false alarms. That's huge. It really is. They provide more accurate and highly actionable insights, moving beyond just listing vulnerabilities to providing context. They empower ethical hackers and security teams to address vulnerabilities much more proactively, shifting from a reactive stance to a predictive one. Ultimately, they strengthen an organization's overall cybersecurity posture by offering a more intelligent and dynamic defense.
Being more proactive.
Yep. They continuously learn from new data, including emerging threats and evolving attack technique patterns, constantly improving their detection capabilities over time without constant manual updates. They leverage advanced machine learning (ML) algorithms to identify complex patterns, subtle anomalies, and potential vulnerabilities far more effectively and quickly than traditional static tools.
Learning on the job.
You got it. And importantly, they can adapt to the specific needs and unique requirements of an organization by tailoring scanning strategies and detection methods to a particular environment, which further refines accuracy and reduces both false positives and false negatives.
Okay, let's compare them directly. Traditional versus AI.
Good idea. Let's do a direct comparison between traditional VA and AI-powered VA to highlight these core differences. First, scope and coverage. Traditional primarily focuses on known vulnerabilities, relying on predefined rules and signatures in its database. It's like checking for diseases you already know about and have specific tests for. AI-powered analyzes vast amounts of data to identify patterns and detect both known and unknown vulnerabilities, including novel or zero-day threats. It's looking for anomalies that don't fit any existing pattern.
So AI can find unknown stuff. That's big.
Potentially, yes. It looks for deviations from normal, not just known bad signatures.
Traditional often prioritizes vulnerabilities based solely on technical severity, frequently without adequately considering the unique business context of the organization or the criticality of the asset. AI-powered utilizes risk-based prioritization, intelligently considering a multitude of factors such as asset criticality, specific compliance requirements, and the real-world likelihood of exploitation in that specific environment.
Smarter prioritization based on real risk.
Exactly. Then, efficiency and scalability. Traditional can be time-consuming and resource-intensive, especially in large and complex environments, often requiring significant manual effort to manage and interpret. AI-powered leverages sophisticated automation and algorithms to significantly streamline the vulnerability assessment process, making it much faster, more thorough, and far more scalable, effectively freeing up human analysts for higher-level tasks.
Faster and less manual work.
Right.
Traditional relies on predefined rules and signatures, making it inherently difficult to adapt quickly to new threats and novel attack techniques as they emerge. AI-powered continuously learns from new data, including emerging threats and attack methods, offering superior and dynamic adaptability to an ever-changing threat landscape.
That comparison really highlights the monumental shift. AI isn't just an incremental improvement, it truly pushes us from a reactive, signature-based defense to a more proactive, intelligent, and adaptive security posture. That's a revolutionary change in how we approach and think about digital security.
It absolutely is, and we're already seeing this revolution in action with a new generation of AI-powered tools hitting the market.
Like what? Any specific examples?
Sure. eTwixly is one. It's an advanced SaaS, software as a service platform, specifically designed for AI-powered vulnerability assessment, with a strong and crucial focus on securing APIs, application programming interfaces. It uses AI and ML to identify and eliminate blind spots in these increasingly critical components.
Focused on APIs, interesting.
Yep. Its key features include AI-driven vulnerability detection, automated threat analysis, real-time security monitoring, and adaptive learning, whereas ML models continuously learn from new data. Another one is Smart Scanner. This is an AI-powered automated vulnerability scanner designed to significantly enhance website security by continuously monitoring for potential vulnerabilities and threats using advanced ML algorithms.
For websites.
Right. It employs both supervised and unsupervised ML to analyze data, establish baselines of normal behavior, perform real-time anomaly detection, and provide instant analytics and response. Other important AI-powered tools include Code Defender, which automatically detects, prioritizes, and fixes security vulnerabilities directly in code bases. Pentest Copilot, an AI-powered penetration testing assistant that automates tasks from reconnaissance to exploitation, and Beagle Security, which uniquely combines automated scanning with human manual penetration testing, all while leveraging AML to detect a wide range of vulnerabilities.
It's clear that the future of vulnerability assessment is deeply intertwined with AI, offering capabilities we could only dream of before. Given AI's immense power in detecting vulnerabilities, what new, uniquely human skills do you think will become most indispensable for ethical hackers to master in the future to complement these tools?
That's a great question. I think critical thinking, understanding context, ethical judgment, and creative problem solving become even more important. The AI finds things, but the human needs to understand the implications, prioritize based on business needs, and figure out novel solutions or complex attack chains the AI might miss. Strategic thinking, basically.
It's one thing to talk about AI's impressive capabilities in theory, but how does an ethical hacker actually use it in a real-world scenario? Can AI genuinely help with specific scanning tasks, perhaps even with popular existing tools that ethical hackers already know?
Oh, absolutely. It's happening right now.
It's like having a brilliant co-pilot for your hacking tools. You tell it what you want to achieve in plain language, and it generates the precise commands or scripts you need, saving immense time and significantly increasing efficiency.
That's precisely what's already happening in the field. Attackers and ethical hackers, by extension, using the same powerful methods for defensive purposes, can now actively leverage AI-powered technologies, particularly generative AI like ChatGPT, to significantly enhance and automate their vulnerability scanning tasks.
Like using ChatGPT to run scans.
Exactly. This means they can effortlessly perform complex scans or rapidly generate custom vulnerability scanning scripts, even for tools they might not use daily or whose specific syntax they don't immediately recall.
Okay, show me an example. How would that work?
Let's look at some practical, compelling examples.
Nikto with AI. Imagine an ethical hacker wants to quickly scan a target URL with Nikto. They could ask an AI, prompt to AI. Launch Nikto to execute a scan against the URL www.certifiedhacker.com to identify potential vulnerabilities. AI's role. It instantly generates the exact command, nikto-h www.certifiedhacker.com.
Just like that. Gives you the command.
Yep. The explanation is simple. Nikto is simply the command to invoke the web server scanner, and www.certifiedhacker.com specifies the target URL. Nikto then runs its comprehensive checks. This saves time looking up syntax.
Okay, pretty straightforward. What about saving the output?
Sure. Now let's say they want to scan and also save those results to a file for later analysis. Prompts to AI. Perform vulnerability scan on target URI http://testphp.vulnweb.com with Nikto and save the results in output.txt. AI's role. It efficiently generates the command. Nikto http://testphp.vulnweb.com-o output.txt. Explanation. The output.txt option simply directs all the scan results to be saved into a file named output.txt. Simple, but a huge time saver for remembering specific options.
Cool. Could it do this for other tools like Nmap?
Absolutely. Example 2, Nmap with AI. Nmap is another foundational network scanning tool. Prompt to AI. Perform a vulnerability scan on target URI www.moviescope.com with Nmap and save the results in output.txt.tst.
Okay, what do those options mean?
Nmap test sv script vuln www.moviescope.com-oni output.txt.
Okay, what do those options mean?
Good question. Nmap invokes the network scanner. -SV enables version detection, which is crucial for identifying specific software versions with known vulnerabilities. ScriptVuln tells Nmap to run its powerful built-in vulnerability scanning scripts. www.moviescope.com is the target, and -on-n-output.txt saves the output in a normal format to a file named output.txt.
Okay, that's useful. What about more complex stuff? Can it write scripts?
Yes, this is where AI truly gets powerful, automating complex multi-tool workflows with just a natural language prompt. Example 3, Python script for multi-tool workflow with AI. Prompt to AI. Create a Python script to run a fast but comprehensive Nmap scan on the IP addresses in scan1.txt, and then execute vulnerability scanning using Nikto against each IP address in scan1.txt. AI's role. It instantly generates a functional Python script using the subprocess module to automate this entire multi-step workflow.
Whoa, it writes Python code for you.
It does. The script logic, simplified, is it first reads a list of IP addresses from a file like scan1.txt. It then iterates through each IP address in that list. For each IP, it executes an Nmap scan with aggressive timing and advanced scan options using Python's subprocess.run function. Immediately after the Nmap scan, it proceeds to execute a Nikto web vulnerability scan on the same IP address, also via subprocess.run. The results of both scans are then neatly displayed in the console output.
That's incredible. AI isn't just generating simple one-off commands. It's acting as a real-time scripting assistant, streamlining complex multi-tool workflows. That's a massive time saver for ethical hackers, essentially giving them an instant expert programmer at their fingertips for repetitive or complex tasks.
Absolutely. It dramatically reduces the barrier to entry for complex automation and allows experts to rapidly prototype and execute sophisticated scanning methodologies. Let's do one more. Example 4. Skipfish with AI. Skipfish is another web app scanner, prompt to AI. Perform a vulnerability scan on target URI http://testphp.velweb.com with Skipfish and display the output file index.html in Firefox. AI's role. Generates the command skipfish @tmp skipfish output http://testphp.vulnweb.com and Firefox tmp skipfish output index.html.
Okay, what's happening there?
The first part, skipfish @tmp skipfish output http://testphp.vulnweb.com, executes the skipfish scan on the target URL, storing all the results in a specified temporary directory. The and operator is key here. It ensures that if the first command, the scan, succeeds, the second command, Firefox tmp skipfish output index.html, then automatically opens the generated HTML report in Firefox for immediate analysis. This integrates scanning and review seamlessly.
Scan and view all in one line. Nice.
These practical examples powerfully demonstrate that AI can significantly augment an ethical hacker's capabilities, automating repetitive or complex tasks and allowing them to focus their invaluable human intelligence on higher-level analysis, strategic thinking, and the truly unique challenges that only human creativity and insight can solve. It's about leveraging technology to be far more effective and efficient.
That's a fantastic point. The key takeaway here is that AI isn't replacing the ethical hacker. It's profoundly empowering them with a new level of efficiency, precision, and capability, making their critical work far more impactful.
Yeah.
It's truly a co-pilot, not a replacement.
Exactly. It handles the tedious stuff, freeing up brain power for the hard stuff.
After all this meticulous scanning, the deep analysis, and even leveraging cutting-edge AI, what's the ultimate deliverable? How do organizations effectively communicate these critical findings, and even more importantly, what needs to be done about them? This really sounds like where the rubber meets the road.
It absolutely is. The report is critical.
Or all that work translates into concrete action. It's the equivalent of a comprehensive doctor's report, providing a clear diagnosis, a prognosis of potential risks, and a detailed treatment plan, not just for the patient, but for all relevant stakeholders who need to understand and act.
That's an excellent way to describe it. After all the vulnerability assessment phases are meticulously completed, the security team reviews and processes all the gathered information to prepare the final, crucial report. This report is absolutely critical. It clearly discloses all identified vulnerabilities, documents any variations and findings, and, most importantly, includes the recommended actionable remediation steps.
It tells you what's wrong and how to fix it.
Exactly. A vulnerability assessment report is a comprehensive document that meticulously details the findings of a VA. It includes clear information about identified security weaknesses, their potential impact, their severity, and concrete recommendations for their remediation. Its primary goal is to provide all stakeholders, from technical teams to executive leadership, with a clear, unambiguous understanding of the security posture of the assessed systems, applications, or networks. This report then guides them in taking precise corrective actions to mitigate identified risks.
So everyone's on the same page.
That's the aim. Vulnerabilities are typically categorized within the report based on their severity into 3 clear levels. High risk. These are vulnerabilities that might allow unauthorized access or severe system compromise and must be rectified immediately to prevent a breach.
The emergencies.
Right. Medium risk. These are significant but not immediately critical, requiring attention and a defined timeline for remediation. And low risk. These are minor issues that should still be addressed, but are not immediate threats to the organization.
The should-dos.
The report also describes different kinds of attacks that are possible given the organization's specific operating systems, network components, and protocols, giving a tailored threat landscape.
So it's customized to the specific environment.
It should be. Beyond just a simple list of findings, a truly robust VA report must include the vulnerability's technical name and its mapped CVE ID, the precise date of discovery, the CVSS score or other relevant severity ratings, a clear, detailed description of the vulnerability, the potential impact on the system or business operations, specific details regarding the affected system so teams know exactly where to look.
The where and what.
Crucially, detailed information regarding the process needed to correct the vulnerability, including specific information on patches, configuration fixes, or ports to be blocked. And if possible, a proof of concept, PC, of the vulnerability for the system to visually or functionally demonstrate its exploitability, which can be invaluable for motivating quick remediation.
Showing that it's a real threat.
Exactly. A well-structured report helps organizations take mitigation steps proactively by effectively identifying, meticulously tracking, and systematically eliminating security vulnerabilities. Ethical hackers must analyze these reports very carefully, not just to understand the findings, but also to avoid false positives and ensure accurate, targeted remediation.
Okay, so what are the main parts of a good report?
Vulnerability assessment reports are generally structured into several key components. First, the executive summary. This is designed for high-level decision makers and business leaders. It includes the assessment scope and objectives, a brief narrative, a summary of the most critical findings, often with a graphical representation of vulnerabilities by severity, and an overview of suggested high-level remediation. It's the too long, didn't read, but highly critical version.
The quick overview for the bosses.
Right. Then the assessment overview. This provides the technical context. It details the assessment methodology, the specific scan information, like tools used and asset scan, and detailed target information.
The how we did it part.
Yep. Next, findings. This is the core of the report, detailing the actual problems found. It includes detailed information for each scanned host, name, address, OS, date of test, a clear list of affected assets, categorization of the types of vulnerabilities identified, and for each vulnerability, granular details. CVE ID, CVSS score, a threat description, its potential impact, and recommended remediation steps. It's the technical deep dive into each flaw.
All the gory details.
Pretty much. Then the risk assessment. This section elevates the findings to actual business risk. It includes a classification of vulnerabilities based on their risk level. Critical, high, moderate, or low, identifies potential vulnerabilities that could compromise the system, and highlights critical hosts that harbor severe vulnerabilities requiring immediate attention.
Translating tech findings into business risk.
Crucial step. Next is recommendations. This is the action plan. It provides a clear prioritization of remediation based on the risk ranking, a concrete action plan to implement recommendations for each identified vulnerability, and very importantly, specific instructions for applying patches or fixes. It also includes insights on lessons learned for future improvement and suggests awareness training for employees.
The what to do next section.
Exactly. You often also have appendices and supporting information with detailed logs or configuration files for the technical teams, a conclusion summarizing key findings, a follow-up actions and timeline section outlining when things should be fixed and retested, and finally, a glossary of terms to help everyone understand the jargon.
This is far more than just a list of problems. It's a strategic, actionable blueprint that truly guides an organization's entire security improvement process. From the C-suite making strategic decisions down to the IT trenches where the actual fixes happen. It ensures everyone, regardless of their technical depth, understands their role and the urgency.
Absolutely. It is the critical link between identifying a weakness and successfully strengthening the defense. A well-crafted report ensures that valuable insights from the assessment lead to tangible, measurable security enhancements, fostering both resilience and trust within the organization and with its external stakeholders. It's the culmination of all the previous phases.
That makes the importance of the report incredibly clear. Imagine you're a CEO receiving this comprehensive report. Which specific section do you think would be most crucial for your high-level decision-making, that top-down strategic view? And which would you confidently delegate to your technical team, knowing they have all the granular details they need? I'd probably jump straight to the executive summary and then the risk assessment myself.
I think that's exactly right. The CEO needs the executive summary for the big picture and the risk assessment to understand the business impact. The detailed findings and recommendations sections. That's what you hand over to the technical team to execute the plan. #outro.
What an incredible journey we've had through CEHv13 Module 5, Vulnerability Analysis. We've covered so much ground today.
We really did. It's a dense topic.
From understanding the subtle nuances of different types of digital weaknesses lurking in our systems, to the universal scoring systems that rank their severity, the continuous life cycle of protection, the powerful tools ethical hackers use, both traditional and cutting-edge AI-powered solutions, and finally, how all this culminates in a comprehensive report that drives decisive action. So, what does this all mean for you? It means you, our listener, now possess a far clearer and more detailed understanding of how to proactively identify, categorize, and address digital vulnerabilities, making you significantly more well-informed and resilient in the face of constantly evolving cyber threats.
Exactly. This deep dive has truly shown that vulnerability analysis is not a one-time security audit, but a critical, continuous, and adaptive cycle of learning, discovery, and diligent remediation. It's an ongoing commitment to digital health, much like maintaining your own physical well-being.
It's a constant process.
It is. This module has equipped you with the foundational knowledge to understand why and how organizations protect themselves, and crucially, how malicious actors actively seek to exploit weaknesses, empowering you with both defensive and proactive insights. This truly raises an important question.
As we've seen throughout this deep dive, identifying vulnerabilities is just the first, albeit crucial, step. The real test comes in how effectively and strategically we apply this knowledge to secure our complex digital landscape. So for your provocative thought, consider this. In an age where AI can rapidly identify incredibly complex vulnerabilities, what new, uniquely human skills like critical thinking, the art of ethical judgment, or perhaps even highly creative problem-solving will become most indispensable for ethical hackers to truly master and leverage in the future?
That's a deep one to ponder. How do humans add value beyond the machine?
Exactly. And speaking of what comes next, our next deep dive will delve into the exciting and challenging world of system hacking itself. We'll explore how attackers, and indeed ethical hackers and penetration testers, actually utilize all this collected information from footprinting, scanning, enumeration, and vulnerability analysis phases to attempt system exploitation.
Putting all this knowledge into practice.
It's where theory meets intense, real-world practice. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into vulnerability analysis. We hope you feel more informed, more empowered, and ready to tackle the digital world with new insight. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and most importantly, stay secure.